Yeah.
Yeah.
Good evening. Namaste. I welcome you all to this Vichar weekly webinar. This is Vichar webinar is an initiative of FIAV, Federation of Indian Associations of Victoria. My name is Surya Prakash Soni. I'm former president of FIAV and current trustee. So the objective of this initiative is to bring community together. There has been request in the past for that community want to connect directly with FIAV. Many don't know that FIAV is an organizational membership requirement. So individuals can't become member, only organizations can become member. So with this Vichar webinar, we are bringing community together. There's a one-to-one, people-to-people connection, and it's a multicultural initiative where everyone can come be speaker and audience. It's open for all Victorians. And at times, some international speakers come into this webinar. And the whole idea is that every human being, that's my personal firm belief, that every human being on earth has got some talent to share, some skills to share. And as an individual, all we need is spark, just a clue, just a threshold to overcome, to learn something new. And with these uncertain times in AI and all those different things coming in, all we need is multi-skill over the time. With multi-skill in hand, will boost our confidence, and as well as will be able to make this world a better place. So with that thought, and its short introduction of the initiative, I welcome our speaker Indira Laisram ji. Welcome. Thank you for joining, and thank you for bringing this program of educating the community of how to outreach to media training. And with that note, I would also request my co-host Akshat Verma to formally introduce Indira ji for everyone's knowledge. Over to you, Akshat.
Thank you, Surya. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Vichar Interactive webinar. We are honored to host Ms. Indraji, a media professional whose writing has featured in leading publications including The Hindu, The Economic Times, and The Indian Express. Ms. Indra's career spans key editorial roles in both India and Melbourne, and she actively contributes to platforms like Surgical News and The Indian Sun. So today Indraji will guide us on how to craft and share stories where you're drawing up to her deep experience in journalism, writing and editing for a diverse audience. Here, I welcome Ms. Indraji to begin the session and give us the talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Suni. Thank you, Akshat. Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this special webinar on media training. My name is Indira Laisram, as has been introduced, and it's a pleasure to see all of you this evening. I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. I'd also like to thank the Victorian government for the support in helping us organize such sessions and pushing multicultural voices. So thank you, Suri, and the Federation of Indian Association of Victoria. You do incredible work bringing our community together. Suri, I think I really thank you for your energy in helping spread this word on today's webinar. And also a huge congratulations to you on your fantastic interactive community webinar, Vichar. What a lovely forum and a space to share news, ideas, stories, conversations. So it's a brilliant initiative, and I'm really proud of the work you do. So you are quite a fantastic force in the community. So let's get started today. I have a presentation, and I'd basically give you the basics of how the media works, what the media is. I'm sure lots of you know the workings of the media, but I just thought I'd go a little bit deeper into what is there in the surface. And if you all have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask me. So, Suri, can we have slide one? And also, guys, if you can all, give in your introduction. I would have loved to have a one-to-one introductory session, but I think time is of this essence here, so we'll skip that. Okay.
So is that the right slide?
Yeah, workshop goals. Yeah, that's the first one. So can everybody see the screen? I've just
Yes.
yeah. Can you see it like because my computer is I don't have a double screen, so
Yeah,
see
it's
this one.
visible.
It's visible, isn't it? So okay, so you know, the workshop goals is very straightforward, I think. I think I'll have to wear my specs to see that. Yeah. So it's to strengthen multicultural engagement and representation, improve the quality and reach of your communications, equip your staff, volunteers, and young people with media skills, and open pathways into media careers. So I'm sure a lot of you attending the session tonight are professionals, but I think adding a bit of skills into your personal toolkit is a good thing. So when I say strengthening multicultural and engagement and representation, what I mean to say is that sometimes a lot as multicultural members of the multicultural organizations, it's important that we make our events, programs, campaigns reflect the experiences of people from various cultural groups. And when I say improve the quality and reach of your communications, what I mean to say is that we have to make our messages clear, professional, and effective. That way, more and more people access or see your messages. So, example of that is using social media, newsletters, videos, press releases, etc. And I'll come to the details of how that works later. Let's go to the next slide, Suri. So, what is the media? I'm sure a lot of you know what the media is. In a broad sense, it is a term for any platform or channel used to communicate information to the public. So, when we say traditional media, we have TV, radio, newspapers. But today we have digital media such as websites, blogs, social media, podcasts, etc. So traditional media, digital media, social media platforms, all these categories, are fall under media, though they are different formats. And the idea is that because media can give everyone a voice, show real stories, challenge wrong ideas about people from different cultures, etc. So, which is why today, with the advent of technology and everything else, we have digital media, social media, all of that, which we will discuss along the way. If any questions, please let me know. Let's go to the next slide, Suri. Yeah. And because I'm assuming we are today a multicultural set of people in the audience, the module is also aimed at in addressing multicultural communities. So when I say why media matters in multicultural organization is because it is a powerful tool for exclusion and visibility. Multicultural voices are often underrepresented, which is why we need to do more and more stories about multicultural communities, and media helps shape narrative, challenge stereotypes, and tell authentic stories. And when I say challenge stereotypes, it means that, for instance, Indian communities should not be known just by Diwali or Holi festival, because there are a lot of other things that Indian communities represent. There are lots of stories. There's richness of stories in the community. Okay.
I have one quick question there.
Yes.
In from the previous slide, when you said
Yeah.
definition of media,
Yeah.
uh, so individuals have become media persons now, isn't it? By anybody is a content creator. Where does content creator fit into this definition?
So yeah. See, we're all vying for that same space in the media. So a content creator can also be called. They don't come on the traditional media, but they are also part of the media, isn't it? That's why we have YouTubers, bloggers who are called content creators, and they are a part of the same media. The wide platform of media,
Yeah,
not under the traditional sense, but non-traditional sense.
yeah. So that would be interesting aspect
Yeah.
to ponder. Yeah, please. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Is that slide 4?
Yeah,
Okay, so why stories matter, isn't it? Again, I think pretty straightforward. Stories build belonging. They challenge stereotypes, as I mentioned earlier, with more than just food festivals. Stories inspire action and engagement. They raise awareness of important issues, showcase impact, and create change. So, stories aren't just entertainment, they take these voices further. They help people feel included, break stereotypes, inspire action, raise awareness, and show how change can happen. So, when I say inspire action, I'm sure for most of you, a lot of times you might have read stories that have, made you donate to a cause, or may have made you angry that you shared forward so that other people also realize the you know the what do you call the depth of the situation. So this is what I mean when I say they inspire action, raise awareness, and how change can happen. Next slide, please, Suri.
yeah,
5.
yeah,
Yeah. So now that we've talked about what stories do, that how they break stereotypes, inspire action, raise awareness, and how they can make change happen, how do we identify a story? A story can come from an experience, challenges, or achievement. I said in your community because I was assuming there are a lot of people representing different communities, but when it can also be around you in your own family, neighborhood, everywhere. It could be about real experiences and real people. It could be something that again influences change or brings about an impact, connect emotionally. So this type of stories that you can tell are impact stories, people profiles, highlighting an event, celebrating a milestone of an organization or achievements of individuals, or even responding to current situations. So there are plenty of stories that we can go looking for. There is no dearth of stories. We just have to have what in typical journalistic terms is called nose for the news, and then and peg a news item to either write a feature story, a news item, and or even create further discussions. Okay,
and
so does that make sense?
yep.
Okay.
And so I think one interesting topic, which I,
Yeah.
I believe Neeraj ji will also raise and ask, is around stories, one positive side, but what about the fake stories or fake news?
In fact,
Where does that fit?
about it.
Yeah. So are you asking me, or asking Neeraj?
No, Neeraj ji, you're saying something?
Can I
Um,
say something?
Yes, please.
What I'm trying to say is that uh,
Hmm.
one point you which Sony
Hmm.
raised earlier was
Hmm. Hmm.
the content creators are journalists or not. Actually, they are not.
Mm. In the traditional sense, that's why I said they're not
Hmm?
journalists in the traditional sense, because journalists report, right, have a proper training, all of that. But today, under
But all journalists are
the media, I said media, sorry, yeah.
all journalists are content creators, or they do editing work or news reporting or news gathering. It's a very big profession, and long back I used to understand that a person who does full-time journalism is a journalist, basically a working journalist.
Mm,
But subsequently we found that there were people who were doing part-time job or maybe stringers.
mm,
Stringer means part-time journalist also can be a journalist,
mm,
it getting a salary or getting as one keeps going working. And the
mm,
second point is, I think Indra knows very well about it,
mm,
that misinformation. So within and then there is one more point. If you agree, I'll speak now or later.
mm,
Um, was a misinformation. So there are, and I'm very frank, there are within the multicultural communities journalists and media groups
mm,
which are very very motivated and don't
mm,
go by facts. They just go by emotions.
mm,
And which leads to misunderstanding as well as misinformation, because If we go by emotions and report a thing,
Mm,
it might be correct, it might not be correct, man.
mm,
So we have to verify things. So it's a technical work basically,
mm,
which is to be done properly. And one last point,
mm,
and then we'll talk about it later,
mm,
is multiculturalism. So what is multiculturalism? I just can't understand,
mm.
and because for I'll give you an example, Indra and Soni ji, please. This is very important.
Yeah,
Calling a Diwali function multicultural Diwali is absurd, absolutely. Or maybe Eid, a multicultural Eid. It can't be because these are religious festivals.
yeah,
So I think what is multicultural is participation of all communities in all events.
exactly.
And,
Yeah, we'll come to
yeah,
that.
later on,
It's
later.
Yep.
a
Thank you,
very,
Dheeraj.
very
Yeah.
interesting conversation, but let's just talk about the basics of how to write story, and
Sure.
then we'll talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that. One
Thank
thing
you.
that I wanted to talk about when about misinformation, I think that this comes with, I think I would say that for people like Neeraj and I who've gone through the grind of journalism in India and here, we've gone through proper journalism schools where we're told that objectivity is the key to writing a story, which means you have both sides of the story and you keep your neutral voice
yeah,
because you are not supposed to be the judge, or you're not supposed to make people form an opinion about the story. So for instance, if I say a mosque has been attacked, a mosque has been we cannot just say that the mosque has been attacked by so and so people, but then we also and then talk about the hurt of the people of those of the people affected. We have to bring in the police point of view, the all sides affected, and give a proper correct picture to the audience,
yeah. That's what I
without
meant.
taking any sides. So that is objectivity. But people who do understand, they will be able to, people who have gone through the grind of journalism will write the proper story and give the proper information, objective information. But those who do not understand journalism, and there's so many of them who've opened fly-by-night operations, will produce stories that are one-sided, and that unfortunate is the unfortunate part, because people do not know or how to decipher sometimes what is the correct news and what is the wrong news, isn't it?
Yeah, very good. Well said, I think.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what I meant actually, that's what I meant.
yeah, yeah. But it's very interesting, all this. Yeah, and yeah, in journalism, as Neeraj said, and I'm so glad you're there because you can help me out with my presentation. So there are different in journalists, like for instance, a news agency will have stringers. That means they're not people on the payroll, but these are people who are paid for stories they do. So they're not permanent staff. But a stringer is also a journalist. That means he knows how to write a story. He's the first to report a news, and that is how they are in the hierarchy, in the chain of things. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, next slide is key reasons for sharing stories, isn't it? Um, uh, yeah, now that we understand the power of stories, they change, they are impactful, all of that. We talked about break stereotypes, all of that. We have to understand that stories in the media are not just publicity. There are powerful way to support your work and your community. And I say that why? Because having worked in as a community journalist, ever since I came to Australia, I know that I've always worked most of the time a lot on profiles, journeying the stories of migrants who've come here. And I I have written innumerable stories on such interesting people. I still remember there was a person who came to Australia via Kandahar, Iraq, Greece, and here in the 70s when the white in the 70s when the white Australia policy was still on. And I've journeyed the stories of the first of people, one or two people who are hardcore engineers, IT professionals, and actors by night. So we have a wealth of stories, and I really find it very interesting that sometimes we think is we are limited within the multicultural space because we all have our own publications and write, but sometimes it's the mainstream media that also recognize the work that you do, and sometimes they contact you to get a contact of the person that you've written about. So it's just not, something that is lost in just within ourselves or in obscurity after a while, because news is such that there is a way of it being spread, and a lot of other people being known. So I find it very interesting that for me, sharing stories is about really telling people about real experiences, real people, someone's journey, so it can highlight change or impact, something, situations where something improved, a problem was solved, or people were inspired to act, or celebrating success of organizations. I have spoken to two organizations in the past 1 month. One is the Bengali Association of Victoria, and the other is the Malayalam Association of Victoria. And both are almost, one is already is celebrating 50 years of its existence next year, and another one is soon about to cross that milestone. So I can't believe that two organizations in Australia, multicultural organizations, are actually completing 50 years of the existence. And that is a wonderful story, I thought, to share. And this is one of the reasons that I really like doing stories. And I don't mean to say that, okay, these are just happy, nice stories, okay, but then they connect emotionally, I think, to a lot of people. And but then we also do stories cannot be just limited to, okay, profiles and stuff like that. We can talk about, conversations. We can start a conversation on why accepting somebody being gay is quite difficult amongst Indian communities, South Asian communities, or why mental health is not an openly talked about subject and stuff like that. And we've done stuff like that, which is interesting. But I just find that sometimes a lot of people are not very forthcoming with, telling their stories because of stigma that is still associated, which is why doing a lot of these stories are important, because the more you talk about it, the more it becomes handled, and to understand, accept that problem, and, move on in life, isn't it?
Yep. If I can add
Yeah, please,
two
please.
more things. One
Yeah.
is media in general. If we go into our home country, that is different thing. But if you're migrating to a different country, you are heavily depending on those challenges and resources and stories of the other previous migrants
Mm,
here.
mm.
And that knowledge sharing is necessary.
Yeah.
Without those stories and without those resources made available to new migrants, it becomes very difficult to adapt to the new country.
Mm.
So from that perspective as well, sharing is critical, so that you sharing the your new migrants not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
And
Excellent
Yeah,
point.
good point. Very
Yeah.
good point.
Very
uh,
good. Yeah.
the second thought I also had, I totally forget. So maybe yeah, I'll add when I can. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I just thought I'd do a group exercise on this, if you guys are willing, or we don't have to break into groups, but can you just think of a story in terms of people, purpose, and impact? Then, because sometimes we talked about identifying stories. If any of on the, in the group have an idea about a story, then we can talk about how to, whether they are bang on in finding a peg to a story, and how we can develop that story.
I really maybe I'll give that opportunity to the audience first.
Yeah.
Anybody want to bring in a story?
Anybody can a story idea? Anybody has a story idea?
Actually, I did it, so I not no more an idea.
You are the story now.
You're the story now. Any story idea?
Yeah. So if no one in the audience, I've
Sorry,
got one.
okay, fine. We'll skip that then if
No,
no
no,
one.
I can share one if nobody
Yeah.
in the audience.
Yeah.
I really like touched emotionally with one of my colleague yesterday itself, and I'm going to introduce him to you personally directly.
Mhm.
He's like very young migrant in his 20s, I would say, and he out of nowhere he got a blood cancer, last year, and he's recovered after 6 months of chemotherapy and all. And during those last 6 to 8 months, he has built a extensive research document of himself, and he want to share that story with you or with the wider media, that how this modern consumerism and the products what come in the market is creating those the cosmetics and the food utensils and all non-stick things
Yep.
and all. So he's done comprehensive study on that to discover
Okay.
why he at very young age
Yeah.
got into that situation, and how many companies are bypassing those regulations around that those chemicals should not be present, that they're putting the composing chemicals separately. When as soon you add water, it will create those formaldehyde or something
Oh.
on not as an ingredient, but when you as soon you add water, it will convert it to formaldehyde last minute, and that's how they're bypassed. Many things he shared in half an hour session I had with him.
Mm.
So he really wants to share his story, and and protect other young people who is with the changing lifestyle in current Gen Z,
Mm.
that more eating outside and all those things, the food coloring and all different aspects, diverse aspect
Mm.
he shared, and also shared his parents' experience around that. How like parents back in India, they say, oh, eat veggies, eat carrot in the morning, you'll be fine, you'll be okay and all. Rather than doing a proper diagnosis, doing proper formal modern treatment of the situation, rather than just relying purely on the home remedies and all those things. So he has a story he really wants to share
Mm.
of awareness, and also maybe if you can help.
Yeah, that's an interesting story, but of course, he will have his side of the story, but we will also have to counter check with doctors, like it can, because obviously he's gone through his experiences. It will be fantastic. One part, one angle of the story, one way of doing the story could be him writing the first person and his in his journey of combating cancer, and overcoming a lot of things, and and how he's well now after six, his resilience, showing that resilience side of things. But the other part could be about what he's saying, but what he's saying has to be, as when I have to bring the objective part, and what he's saying has to be countered also by a doctor's opinion. So he what he's saying may be right in his context, in his opinion, but we can also have a doctor's opinion on that. So that also make a good story. And not to say that what the patient is saying is gospel truth, because a doctor will also have his opinion. So then what he says and what the doctor says, those two things can be balanced together and projected into story. Or the other story could be just him journeying his fight, his resilience, and overcoming it so far.
I think that's where he wants that
Yeah.
younger people don't pay
Yeah.
too much attention, that, oh, we are young, we're not affected by food coloring and all. But he
Yes.
said, this is take
Yeah.
it serious. That's all the message you want
Yeah.
to give.
Yeah.
Don't take it lightly and pay attention to these concerns. And but at no point he want to make it as a medical opinion.
Yeah.
All he wants to share is things we take lightly need to
Yeah.
be taken seriously, and what are the common misconception around it.
Yeah.
Just a personal opinion. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely, because anything, when cancer is such an illness that, the more information people want to share on their own experiences and journey, the more it's going to help everyone at least realize and be aware of, things, isn't it?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just I want to add a point. Like
Yeah.
when you come to know something like that impacts your life when you're young, your perspective towards your life changes. What you prioritize changes. It has such a profound impact, and it could. So, beside the illness and the recovery, it actually refines the character as well, and helps you at a very young age
Yes.
define what's important and prioritize. So it's
Yes.
quite profound. Yeah, that could be
Yes.
another angle to it. Thank
Yes.
you, Indraji.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yes. Yes. That's great. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I had one point which I forgot in this
At the beginning.
thing. This one was that because of information overload in this current times, that many people have stopped listening to multiple sources. So wider we spread the media and the content,
Mm,
will reach out to those people who are restricting themselves to limited
mm,
sources of media. So spread is necessary, sharing story is necessary,
yeah,
so that we at least reach to people who are restricting themselves to only certain channels or
yeah,
certain sources of
Mm,
media.
yeah.
mm.
Unfortunately, consumption patterns of people is not in our hands, but it's always a good thing to push that,
Wider
telling
spread,
people,
yeah, yeah.
yes, yes,
Yep, thank you.
yeah.
Very
Uh,
good. I think good points.
yeah, very good
Can
points.
I tell about a story, which
Yes,
which I did. I mean, it's not a new idea. So,
yeah.
can I?
Yes, yes, please.
So, I recently found a Punjabi church.
Mm.
Can you believe it? And it is 7 years old. So there are people in this church. I went to their function
I
and
know, Masi Church.
Masih Church, yes.
Yes,
Is
And
it in Victoria? Is it?
it's in Victoria, in Melbourne.
Victoria
Oh,
in
okay.
Kelowna,
Yeah,
and they do their whatever faith work
yeah.
and other things in three languages: in English, Hindi,
Hindi.
Punjabi.
Mm.
So I found it very interesting. There were Hindi songs and a lot of entertainment. So slightly something different
Mm.
from the league, because people only think of Punjabis as one community,
Mm.
which is not true actually. But
True.
maybe they are in a minority. But there were so many people around that
Mm.
I'm surprised that there are so many Christian Punjabis in Victoria. So
Yeah.
that was one story, and there's another one whereby an RMIT has developed maybe Indra knows it, a new eye drop for seniors.
Yeah, I know. I came across that story, but yeah, I haven't gone
Well,
through it.
say I have done it already,
Yeah.
and maybe some follow up can be done on this
Yes.
story.
Yeah.
Because and there's
Mm.
I suspect a seniors
Yeah.
uh, special week is coming up
Yeah.
where
October
you can
5th.
travel around Victoria free.
Yeah, 8 days. Yes. Yeah.
8 days, yeah. So
Yeah.
there are certain things, and lastly, ethnic media. We are technically ethnic media, Soniji, and we are doing a lot of stories which the mainstream media doesn't do actually.
Yes. That's true. They
So,
don't have the
so
space, from their footy and business and other things,
yeah.
because there are so many stories that are there amongst the multicultural
If
communities,
you
and
if
it's
you
really amazing.
Indra, if you see the mainstream TV
Mm.
7, 9 on, they only do accident stories,
Mm.
accident or
Mm.
some fell down from the roof, or a
Mm.
crocodile attacked a baby, and so
Yeah.
they don't do the real
Real
stories.
stories. That's true. Yeah.
Mm.
Let's go on and we'll have a good discussion on that. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So the next slide is on why communication is every organization's superpower. I would add another word to it, not just every organization or every individual's or every organization's superpower. We have to communicate, and that is the essence of doing stories. Why are you doing stories? Because we are communicating something, an information, a thought, an idea, a change, or all of that. So a story in a local trusted newspaper or television story or radio show is like a third party recommendation, as they say. It tells a community that this organization is legitimate and doing important work. So this makes everything easier. People are, for instance, when we do a story, say on FIAB hosting a blood donation drive, if you do a story for this on a newspaper, or even a television station, it is more likely to you're more likely to have people volunteer and sign up, and community partners are more likely to return your calls when they see you've been featured. So it builds your reputation. So this is what I mean to say when I say communication is every organization's or individual's superpower. And say, even in terms of funders and donors, I'm just taking FIAB's example here. So, a media feature is free advertising to potential donors, so it shows funders that your work is relevant and is valued by the community, which makes them more confident in investing in you. And for instance, for volunteers, people can't help if they don't know, you exist. So a heartwarming story about your mission is like the best volunteer recruitment drive you never even have to organize or pay for. So, and even for clients, for instance, the people who need your services most will find you, because a story can reach someone sitting at their kitchen table, reading the paper, who suddenly realizes, wait, there's a need for help there, and I need to call them, that kind of thing. So, very simple community voice equals to, simple explanation, which is the media often tells a single story about certain neighborhoods or groups of people, usually focusing on problems, and you have the power, to change their narrative. So, that is what I have had to say on this point. And if you wanted to add anything else, Neeraj ji, I would come to you. Also, I think I'll just add this that, think of a media story as a megaphone. You're already doing the work and speaking the truth, right? But, the megaphone doesn't change your message, okay? It doesn't change your message. It just helps more people hear it. So by sharing your story, you are not just promoting yourself or your organization, you're just advancing your entire mission.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think as it has been an old saying, and the
Yeah,
media people know that things which are hidden are news, basically,
yeah,
and uh, and they should also be relevant to the community.
yeah,
And say, for example, there are a lot of international students who are suffering in Melbourne,
yeah.
and but they are reluctant to talk, so we can change their names and do a story.
Mm.
There are young girls facing domestic violence, and there is some privacy law. I don't know whether it is there or not. I don't care anyway. So
And apparently even dowry also is
yeah, and issues,
yeah.
and certain other social issues.
Mm.
So I think these are the people, these are the hidden stories within the multicultural
Yeah.
framework.
Yeah.
And because what has now become is,
Mm.
even I was, entangled in it. We are only doing festivals and nothing else,
Exactly.
And so festivals we have to do. We have to do Diwali. We have to do Holi. We have to do Eid. We have
Each.
to do Nanak birthday, and we have to do every damn thing,
Mm.
But we have to do things which are hidden, so that the community can benefit,
Mm.
and those negative things don't happen with them. So basically, it's like giving voice to the voiceless. Basically,
Very true.
that
Yeah.
is the duty. And lastly, to scrutinize those in power,
Yes.
because for example, there is a multicultural policy, so we can analyze it, talk to people about it, that what is good and what is bad in it,
Yeah. Exactly. And as they say, speak truth to the power.
Yeah, power related
Yeah.
movies. Sorry, not movies, sorry. Because I see too many movies, so, and also, if we come to entertainment, there
Mm.
are good movies also which raise the issues which we are talking.
Mm. Yeah.
Maybe you
All right.
bring a
Let's
very
go to the.
important point that maybe both of you being in this media, share some good media or journalistic movies to watch, must watch movies to
Yeah, at
recommend for
the
the
end.
audience.
Yes, at the end.
One
Okay.
good movie coming is Homebound.
Home,
Yeah, homebound. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I'll take a note.
That I understand is a very interesting social story, and
Sorry.
there might be similar stories in Melbourne, I suspect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to watch that. Yes.
It has been
Let's
nominated for
let's
the
finish
Oscar.
this, and we'll have
yeah,
a
follow up.
good
Yeah,
conversation on
Maybe
this.
yeah,
next time we can have one program on entertainment also.
Yeah, we can do that. Discuss a movie review and how it works, how it doesn't work. Pink, for instance, is a good movie to discuss. Anyway, we're digressing. I'll just finish this.
yeah.
So, so basically, what kind of media formats do we have? We have news stories, we have feature stories, we have newsletters, we have digital stories, audio podcasts. Okay, these are all media formats. But in the traditional sense, we only write news stories or feature stories. And news stories are, in journalism school, we were taught about something called the inverted pyramid. What is a pyramid? A pyramid is like this, na?
It's
It,
like this, but
it's like
when you
this,
say
hai na? But
but
inverted,
inverted
then
will
it
go
becomes
here,
flat on top.
flat out
So when
top.
you say inverted means the most important news comes on the top, followed by the lesser important news. So for instance, when you have an accident in a road or somewhere, what is the most important news about that incident?
What's the casualty or what's the
The number
seriousness
of
of
deaths.
the seriousness of the
Yeah. So which is why you'll always have 25 people dead and so much is injured in so and so. So you'll the most important news will come and then where it happened, how it happened, and followed by quotes, of the police or whatever. So that's what we call the inverted news. And news stories are pretty short, straightforward, simple, short,
Yeah.
and they're timely, they're facts based. Okay, so and one example could be, Melbourne celebrates Diwali with record turnout at Federation Square. That is a news story. Okay, or so and so community, FIAB wins 50,000 grants for language programs. मेरे मुंह में घी शक्कर I
हाँ
would
बिल्कुल
say.
बिल्कुल
So that is
I think you
straightforward.
should get $50,000 now.
Yeah, so that is straightforward news. And feature stories are, a stories, they're longer. Their purpose is to explore, engage, and connect emotionally. For instance, you can have a story saying from curry to connection, how one Melbourne kitchen is uniting cultures. This is supposing example, taking a langar maybe where people, langar might not be typically a uniting, that could be uniting culture in the sense that, there are all these people coming there and feeding so many other people, not just Sikhs. So this is feature stories. They focus on human interest. They are in-depth storytelling. Like for instance, if you spices, struggles, success, the journey of a migrant owned grocery store. So this kind of stories can dive deep into the founder's journey, challenges, and community role. So these are the kind of feature stories that one can think of. Of course, there are plenty, but I was just giving an example as to how a feature story differs from a news story. News writing is straightforward, factual, timely, that kind of thing. And newsletters are, generally for organizations. I'm sure FIAB, you also share and have newsletters amongst yourselves. So these are like, updating the community members. These are not, again, media writing as such, but then they are again important because this is a form of communication that keeps the, communication in the groups oiled. Okay, and today we have digital stories, social media posts. This is again a different ball game, which we'll talk about down the line later, a bit later. And audio podcast segment. These are again very popular now, because people are realizing that, for instance, in India, you have Godi Media, so people are not listening to Godi Media. They're going to these few original podcasters who they find neutral and stuff like that. I mean, all these things are debatable, but I'm just giving it an example that people don't trust certain media, so they go to other sources to listen to the same news.
Alternate media, man.
Alternate media, yeah, exactly.
And Sony
Yeah,
sir, am I allowed to speak more? One
yes.
line.
one line yeah
I have started a new concept about 2 3 years back. Quick news,
yeah
Mm. Yeah.
So I do normally do it on Twitter, now known as X. So there is a small my logo and 5 6 news in 5 6 lines only. Quick news.
Capsules.
Immediately. For example, today the latest news is there is a lot of violence going on in Leh, in Ladakh,
Mm.
So that becomes a quick news. Instead of giving full details, we say, okay, there was some violence
You know,
and it's been stopped or whatever.
yeah, it's like those stickers you have, no, in the underneath.
Small stickers, yes.
Yeah, stickers
So
under, like you have that underneath the.
people don't like long stuff, these
Yeah.
days.
Mm.
It depends how you feel.
and
Yeah.
many media have started putting a AI summary on the top of the media
Yeah.
itself that rather than reading
Yeah.
the full article you can have 2 or 3 line of summary in the top of the page.
Yeah.
In shorts.
But the thing
That,
is, in AI, they are also sourcing from us.
yeah. Anyway, let's
Yep, let's go to
just
the
quickly finish that. Yeah, because
yeah
my God. Okay, so press releases. This is very important for organizations, Suri. Um, For example, like, these are like, again, short formal announcements written, by organization like FIV, who has a it's a short official news story written by an organization shared with the media. So it tells journalists about something new or important, like an event, achievement, launch, response to an issue, or change of leadership. So you need to share your message with a wider audience and raise awareness about your work, events, impact, and build your organization's credibility and public profile. Control the message, which is why you use a press release. So it ensures the facts are clear, accurate, and in your own words, so that you draw the attention of the media. So a well-written press release can lead to interviews, news coverage, all of that. So it's always good, since you are all still associated with FIB, I would say that it's always good to have a list of the media contacts ready, because what happens is that if people want to reach out to who they want to contact within your organization, they can also reach you. It can be a two-way street. And when you have the list of the media contacts ready, for example, SAT, Indian Sun, Indian Link, SBS, you have all that. So anytime you have something important, you can draft a press release and send it off to them. So that way, your news, you don't have to, work hard to find who to contact. All of that, you have all the thing in your hand, and your news then will be covered by a lot of news outlet. Okay.
One quick question I'll ask here.
Yeah.
Are there any aggregation portals where we can publish it one place and all the news media channels can pull from there rather than I'm maintaining the list? There's a shared aggregation list or somewhere.
I don't know about you in Australia, but I do know that in India we have PTI, UNI. They're the news agencies, Press Trust of India and United News of India. And then also I think you have the Australian API, Raji? The
APN?
Australian
APN?
Many years back, the age used to do it. And
So, these news agencies, you just send it to them and then they transfer, release to all other. But I don't know whether they do it. I don't know whether, I still haven't, found out whether they have one equivalent of PTI or a UNI here. But, things would have been easier if you did that. But I think it's always good to, have a personal contact with different organizations in your list and, reach out to them.
But if there's a gap, there's an opportunity to
Yeah,
create one.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
let's
can
continue.
find out.
I can tell you a way of getting the latest stuff, but that's going to hurt us.
Yeah.
Thank
Anyway.
you. Yeah.
So and I think in the press release also is like a news writing. You don't have to be very creative, but give good headline, most important news at the top, followed by the lesser important news and contact details, your organization logo, and send it off. Okay.
Yeah, that is true. So are you coming to headlines now or over?
Oh, sorry. Did I miss the last from
Yeah, so that one. I said, so in key elements in the press release is keep your headline clear and newsworthy. So lead as who, where, why, when, all that body, key facts, quotes, content, and then you keep your contact info towards the end. Use simple, direct languages. You can include a strong quote. When I say quote, it means
Yeah. And Indra,
Huh?
now I'm going to tell you the best headline ever written in the world, man.
Which is
The story was that in a bar,
yeah,
in an adult bar,
yeah,
a woman's head was cut,
yeah.
So the headline in the newspaper was "Headless Body in a Topless Bar."
Wow, that's a good. Yeah,
Headless
great.
body in a topless bar. This is considered to be one of the best headline ever.
Yes, and you know what? Sometimes editors are great. They come up with the most
And
fantastic
people are very
ideas.
good at it. Very good, man.
Yeah.
In artificial intelligence, as Sony Sab and me have been talking along about it. If you write a headline and put it in, let us say, Perplexity or whatever AI handle, and ask them, please give me alternate headlines, they'll give you 10 more headlines.
Yeah. Let's continue.
Manipulate them. You can manipulate them.
Yeah.
Becomes
Anyway,
easy.
Yeah. All right, next slide, Suri. Okay, step-by-step guide to writing. I think I've just given some few ideas on how to do it. Basically identifying the focus. Whether it's a people-related story, relating to a moment, an event, or an organization's work. Work, when I say organizations work, mean, is it your tree planting initiative? Is it your blood donation drive? Is it your organ, donation drive? So know your why. Why is this story important? Why do I need to do it now? Why should the community, wider public know? So these are some of the key questions that you have to ask while doing a story, picking up a topic. You have to find out whether, what is happening in the community, explain the context, begin with a mission or recent success, include people's voices, explain the value, what does the organization solve, future vision, use quotes, and always use simple words, everyday words, credit the speaker, and use the exact words to avoid misrepresentation. So, these are the kind of what do you call basic steps that you can work on while writing a story. Firstly, identifying what your story is about. Why is it important? Why do I need to do it now? Who will it impact? What are the questions that it raises? What will it change? Is it inspirational? It need not have all the whys answered, but if we have a one, two, three key points, it's good enough to develop it into a story. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. And story structure, write a sharp headline, intro or the lead, we call it in news parlance, is always very important so that it draws the person into what the rest of the story is. So if your intro, as they say, has to be your, this is, as they say, clickbait headlines in the web, you can say that, a clickbait intro. I mean, the intro should hold the reader's attention for the rest of the story. And so you have the body, and then when I said adding transitions over there, I said, if you have to write a longer story, how do you transition from one thought to another? So you use alliterations, transitions such as addition, therefore, meanwhile, so as to structure the story. Okay?
Yep. Very thoughtful. Never thought like this before.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Next, what else? So some examples of good headlines and bad headlines. A bad headline is seniors sing in Footscray. Doesn't mean anything. Diwali celebrated in area. Doesn't mean anything. But if you say choir gives a voice to seniors in Footscray, that changes the whole attractiveness of the story, attraction of the story, isn't it? Face of the story. It changes the whole face of the story. And if you say neighbor unites through Diwali Lights Festival, that again, there is emotion there, and it connects with readers.
Yep.
And the power of images in storytelling. I think stories, when accompanied by images, always lend more authenticity. They grab attention. They're very important, I feel. Always make sure that you take high quality, clear, high resolution story relevant to the story. Always attribute source of picture, use captions, and respect privacy and consent, because sometimes people are not very open or not very comfortable with sharing their pictures online. So if we have to make sure that we have their privacy and consent. Okay. Next. And
Quick
when I say,
question.
yeah.
Sorry, you can finish your
No,
statement.
when you send a press release, for instance, always make sure that you have an image which is relevant to the press, the story that you are sending out in the press release. That always is an added value. So the chances of the story being published is very high.
Yep. One quick question around this. My personal understanding, it could be misunderstanding, is that any public event we do, we have automatic consent for pictures to be taken and
Oh,
share
that's
on the
perfect.
media.
That's fine.
So is that
Yeah, that's
true? Is
fine.
that
That's
is that
okay.
valid? It's valid
Yeah, yeah,
assumption?
that's perfectly fine.
Any public
But
event
I
we
say,
do,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Is because they know that's a public event, everyone's, so that is perfectly fine. What I mean to say is that when you're doing something, a feature stories or something, and you want to speak to someone to give a quote, how do you
Yep.
feel about this? And then can I take your, sometimes you take the person's photo, because you say so Rita Kumar 44 said this. So then you put the photo and then image caption where you say Rita Kumar,
Yeah,
Sometimes, even giving
people,
that, people are not comfortable. So you have to say, can I take your quote? Can I also put your photo along with the quote? So you have to ask that. That's what I mean by
yeah.
consent.
And what about the minors? Can we take pictures and share it from the
In
public
the
event for the
parents'
minor?
consent, with the parents'
No,
consent,
but
yes,
in the
definitely.
public event, it should be automatic, isn't it? In
Yeah,
public.
public event, it should be that should be fine because
Okay, okay.
everyone has their consent. Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
focusing on one that particular child, na. It's a
yeah,
group thing, na. So that's okay.
I think
correct.
Sony Sab, I have been to recently to two events where they announced that if anybody doesn't want their photo to
They always do that announcement. Please get
So
away.
it,
Then group में से भी they go away. If
yeah,
anybody's not comfortable, you can sort of.
if people are not comfortable, we should not take
Yeah,
photos. Many times I ask people, can I take
yeah,
the photo?
yeah,
yeah, that's a good, good.
yeah,
It good courtesy thing, anyways, to ask you.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
the
good thing.
country I ask them.
Yeah,
And if supposing there is a minor or something, sometimes we have just to let us say, for example, as Indra, you people will understand that we want to show the Indian community.
Yeah,
The question arises, which faces should be shown? It's a very difficult subject.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I take many photos from the back, from
yeah.
far away, so nobody can be recognized.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yep.
This is
Thank
the
you.
safest way
Thank
to
you.
do that, yeah. And this is again for organizations, for Suri, particularly for you, probably FIAB,
Yeah,
building relationships with media. How do you build relationships with media? So this is just not for the multicultural media. You can always pitch your stories to mainstream and multicultural media. And and sometimes do not underestimate the multicultural media also. Okay, sometimes the stories that I have done, we have done, I'm sure Neeraj Nanda too would have had this experience where I got called from an ABC because they wanted to know the context of
Yeah,
the
same.
person's story I was doing. So the Age called me, can you give me a context from the Indian community? Which is why I say that's doing stories and and giving yourself, keeping an online a presence of yourself is very important in terms of news, because uh, that way we are not underrepresented in mainstream media. Also, you can be a thought leader. Supposing they want to get a perspective of a Malayali or a Punjabi or a Gujarati, if they contact your organization by dint of your being there, being written about, being all over there, and establishing a contact with the media, they will contact you. So that way you position yourself as a thought leader also, which is why building relationship with the media is important, because you I repeat, position yourself as a thought leader. You show your visibility through your stories, and you are looked upon seriously, and you also showcase the work that you're doing. So and along with that, you have to be very timely and relevant, to in terms of publishing your stories, because it's not fun that you do your Tej or a Diwali now, and then 10 days later you publish the story or send a press release to be covered. Because in today's age and time, when people are getting everything in real time, especially with the advent of social media, time is of the essence. You have to be very timely with what you produce, send. Okay.
yep,
And yeah, and I've talked of the length of words also, so that's all right. 500 words, it can be your limit if you're doing a news stories or press release, or even shorter. 500 is still a lot too.
yep.
Yeah. Anyway, next.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so engaging with social media, I think, this is a very debatable subject because I have even family members who say keep away from social media, but social media, when put to good use, is good. But then in today's age and time, we cannot also completely do away with social media, because there's something called digital marketing which has come out, in all companies and mostly are resorting to it, because people at the end of the day do use social media. So, and especially when you want to publish your news events and all of that, I think social media is one of the fastest way to spread your news. You can also insert links. You can so you have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, all of that. You post regularly, you put in links, you use photos, videos, you tag partners, use hashtags, and so this is how news can be spread, because you get feedback also in real time. And I feel the use of hashtags is very important because there have been times in the past when I wanted to search a story and just typed a hashtag and found the story, found stories relevant related to it because of the hashtag. So if you do a lot of stories FIAB and and somebody wants to know about something that HIAB did, so if you have a post in Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn everywhere with the hashtag FIAB, then people can easily find you. Even mainstream media, multicultural media, important people or non-important, anybody wants to get in touch with you can find you through that hashtag. Okay, so I
Yep.
think the use of hashtag is very important.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, okay, why social media? Yes, 60% people prefer it over text,
That is
and
correct.
there are 3 times more engagement on social media. You directly connect with the audience, and it helps stories faster, and it is more visible, more shareable.
Yep.
Next, social media tips, hook in the first 3 seconds, which is like, because when you put videos and all, you can't make it too long. Use strong visuals, trending sounds and hashtags. Okay. Like for instance, if you want to do a donation drive, or you can also insert that link. And supposing you want to do something on say solving the problem of hunger, so you said, you can say, you can use a very attractive, you can have that video of, say, uh, kids sharing a lunchbox, and you can say, how so many lunch boxes saved this one's family, how these many people didn't go hungry in this family, so that kind of thing, that kind of thing, just basic ideas. And then you can also insert the link where people click and donate more. So all these things can be really experimented and done, not just experimented, but they really work. People are doing a lot of things with social media, inserting links, hashtags, putting strong visuals, not very long, but just 3 seconds, teaser clip, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yep.
And YouTube clips, I think, and YouTube's I just mentioned because I think YouTube is something, their views increase with time. They're there for posterity. If you made something and you want to look back, they're always there. So I think I just find the YouTube quite uh, stable. So just mentioned a few do's and don'ts, and horizontal natural lights should be used, subtitles, and don'ts is shaky footage and stuff like that. So, and some examples of making a YouTube video are like, cooking class unites migrant families, or arena nurse from India sharing her journey. Some ideas that you can make a YouTube clip on, or the journey of FIAV for the past 15 years, talk to certain members, put it together, that kind of thing. And then with some flashes of what events that you've done, these
Yep.
are YouTube clips that can be saved for posterity. Your children can have a look, the grandchildren can have a look. So,
Yep.
yeah,
No, that's really interesting. Thank you. Yeah.
So, and yeah, this is something again, ethical and legal consideration. I think, informed consent, copyright credit, respectful representation, respect for privacy. These are things that we have to really keep in mind. So, and even if you're quoting somebody, you have to ask, can I use your name? Can I quote you? Can I do this? So asking permission is very important. Yeah.
And
Next.
one quick question around
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, we should be only concerned about Australian laws for that matter, because nowadays media can go anywhere across the boundaries of the nations and all. How do you do that, or just a general consideration there, or what should be
No,
the
I
concern
don't.
here?
Yeah, no, I don't think this is Australian, or yeah, I think this is an international law. I think this privacy, the right for privacy and all of that, I think applies to every country, isn't it? I mean, you can be sued for breach of privacy anywhere, isn't it? If you
No, there's
don't
a, for
use
example,
somebody.
hateful content and all. The definition of hate is different in different
Yeah,
places.
this is, yeah. Yeah, s- uh, you know, I think we have to be politically correct. I think to be very safe, isn't it? When you're using certain words, you cannot be blasphemous, and you cannot, say things. There are certain things within which are considered, which has to fall in a certain norms, certain what do you call, within the in adult intellectual conversations, you don't say certain things. I think we have to look at it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand. But just saying that there's a
Yeah.
different evaluation of things in different countries and all for that matter. But social media is breaching that boundary and content is
Social
going
media where
anywhere.
people are getting held up, isn't it? But I
Yeah.
think we have to really look into, yeah, be very careful about what we write, how we do it. No, I think it's always best that if you're in doubt, ask someone, ask people, I think, ask an expert, ask a lawyer if this is okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think a lawyer will tell you better, and I
yeah,
suspect this is a lot of gray area in this.
yeah.
As Sony ji has rightly pointed out,
Hmm.
that I suspect most of the copyright laws are the same in most of the countries.
Countries, yeah, standard.
I can understand, but yes, there can be a difference. For example, and copyright is not just for articles; it's for photographs, it's for songs.
Yeah.
It was whether a podcast.
Language also using appropriation, as I think you're talking about, no? So, but I think you just, if you're when in doubt, just ask an expert. There'll always be someone. You can ask me, I can ask someone else and just clarify.
Yep.
So instead of, I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
Better to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. I just thought I'll put in because in this point, because in one
It
of
is
my
very
last,
important. Yeah.
yeah, in one of my last sessions, somebody asked me about the use of Chat GPT and AI in storytelling. Look, personally, I don't have anything against the use of Chat GPT, but not for writing stories. I think Chat GPT is a great help. For instance, I do read a lot of science, journals because I want to understand what's going on. Because personally, I have an interest in illnesses, having suffered one myself. So, supposing I pick up an article from the Lancet, I just sometimes, if it's too long, I just put in ChatGPT and ask it to break it up, and it helps me explain things that way. So I think it's a great tool also in the newsroom in writing, because you can write a story and just put it there and say, please check the punctuation marks and things like that. But chat gpt, it saves, so it saves times and helps you, with all that, and especially in a small team like us, where we don't have the luxury of in 3 4 hands to go through the corrections. We if chat gpt helps us in a great deal that way. But ChatGPT cannot write your stories. It cannot, it does not support creativity. It does not help with new angles of phrasing. You can use it to scale your work, but it does not replace judgment or ethics. You trust it like a helpful assistant, but not a storyteller, because we are the ones who, we do the footwork. We sit in a room, we read the emotion of the people, we sense the incense sticks in a room. ChatGPT cannot do that. So we have to bring in all those emotions, all our feelings, use all our sensory, receptacles, and then, write that story. But ChatGPT cannot write. Supposing you sit here and then you just put in stuff and say, write a story, it is going to, not be your voice. It is going to be completely different. It is going to be not have it is going to lack depth and emotion. That's what I would say.
You
Okay.
have very beautifully summarized this. I
Yeah.
work in AI and
Yeah.
your summary is beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, anything else? Yeah. So only you, so, and as I said, AI can't interview people, it can't sit in a room, feel the silence. Your job is to write, isn't to write perfect English, it's to communicate voices, especially for those unheard. Your strength is connection, not syntax. Storytelling is about listening. AI doesn't listen, it predicts. So use AI to help you, right? But let people be your source. You're still the one asking the questions. AI
Yeah,
is your
it can
friend.
be a good helper.
Very good. Where proofreading is so good, and punctuation marks, all that I use, because we don't have a strong team. Because whereas in India, in the newsroom that I worked in, Times of India, we had five. So we start from sub editor one, two, three. So five pairs of eyes before all the story is cleared for print. Okay, now so one person has to go through but now in ChatGPT I just put it there and say, just check the punctuations, check the grammar, check the past tense, and then it does beautiful job. And I'm so happy, because earlier I used to take up, earlier I used to write, then take the printout, because there can be oversight when you're sitting in the computer and reading it. So what I do is I write my story. I take a printout. I sit in my dining table after 5-10 minutes, and with a pen and paper, I do the corrections. And now with ChatGPT, I just put it there. I
Put
know
it
that
in the
that in that
AI, put
sense.
it in the AI, and it will
Yeah.
do some editing.
Yeah. So it's a great tool that way. So I think, yeah, that's about it. And that's I think that was the last
Thank you.
point. And thank you so much. Now you can ask me questions and we can have a bit of a discussion if you want.
I think now Mr. Soni has become a journalist.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you are interested in Akshat. I don't know if you want to become a journalist, but there's not much money there though.
That would be parameter of success of this webinar, that I need to become one. But yeah,
But it's a
that's the
great
whole
if you
idea.
enjoy, if you enjoy writing, digging stories, and you have a nose for the news, then it's a great profession to be in. I enjoy just walking around, Melbourne and going to community events and
Yeah, I
then
know.
meeting people and finding some story from a particular, situation or people, or there's so many things that is really interesting that you can stumble upon.
Indra and Soni Saab and maybe Nawal San and all of you,
Yeah,
when after 100 years somebody will write the history of ethnic media, all of us will be there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
all of us will be there. And as someone, I mean, have you ever thought, Soni Saab, what is the definition of a journalist?
Yeah.
How do you define a journalist? I
Like,
can give you in one line.
what is it? Yeah.
A historian in a hurry.
Studied. Yes.
Yeah. Because obviously you can't write tome in a day. We have a
Can't do
deadline.
everything, so we write a few points and leave the others.
Yeah. Yeah, because we
And
can't
stick to
we can't
history.
write
Like,
thousands and thousands of words in one day. A journalist has a deadline. So I go to an event, I have to make the story overnight and put it up the next day. So I in if within a with if in a, at a night if within one night I can write a history book, then I don't know what I would be. But that's such a nice way to describe it. A historian in a hurry who
and
can at
in,
leisure be a historian.
I am writing my 40 years plus experience and already in a dilemma. What should I leave out and what should I not disclose? So it's not easy to write also if you have to write your experience in life. Uh, I am writing. It will be come out maybe in 1 or 2 years and maybe soon. So maybe all of you can enjoy it. How we worked in Hindustan Times, how we worked in Business India Group, and how we worked in South Asia Times. I am also the founder of Indian Link. One of the
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, Neeraj.
yeah.
Lovely.
Also one of the founders of Indian Link, and at one time we had 14 Indian South Asian newspapers in Melbourne. 14.
Wow.
So you can imagine what sort
Yeah.
of garbage was going on.
Mm.
So it has been interesting, but today's presentation by you very good.
Thank you very much.
At least I am happy someone talking our profession.
Now, what I would say, that the point which you brought towards the very end, surprisingly, I was not expecting that beautiful rendition of the AI and journalism and all that. AI absolutely cannot replace this media, because it is live, it is alive, it is real time, as in Neeraj says, in hurry, that you can't read the silence, you can't read the emotion of the people. And this creative part, usually other creative fields will be easily replaced by AI, but not this journalist, because you need to talk to real people, point in time, emotions, which is
Do the
impossible for.
legwork. Yeah. Mm.
And really real time, absolutely real time thing what you described. So that's a very good food for thought. Never thought like that about this aspect, and very structured content you have presented. So thank you so much, Indiraji.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Well done. Well
meeting
done.
all
Well
of you.
done.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So with that note, I think it's time to wrap. We
Yeah.
have gone a little bit over, but we thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed it, learned a lot. Many people dropped on time, but that's fine. We had a peak of 15, 20 people today.
Yeah.
And many people, as a religious thing, people watch this recording next day morning as they commute to their work or something. So many people will watch it offline. Those who are watching it offline, please like, subscribe, and share with your network and spread the word. And thank you, Akshat, as well, for introducing and being co-host with me. Any comments from you, Akshat?
No, it was absolutely a very interesting webinar for me also, as I am trying to be on digital platforms. Like I'm trying to, with my friends, I'm trying a marketing agency startup in Indore. I'm trying to do my best, but yeah, it also gave me a lot of insight in journalism, how it works, how you should present, and what is the authentic thing with it.
Mm.
I think the best thing is, apart from whatever all Indra has told you today, should be followed, and always tell the truth, in journalism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
that's really good. We missed.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Neeraj, also for all your valuable inputs. Thank you so much. Yeah.
We missed one movie recommendation from you, Indira ji.
Yeah.
Which is
One is Home Alone.
Any very beautiful journalistic,
A very old movie, or I mean,
just a name or something to some must watch movie or something in
movie.
journalism. Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll have to think and I'll let you know.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I'll pass it on.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. With that
so
note,
much,
thank you,
Suri.
everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And for joining. We'll meet again next week. And
Yeah.
with that note,
Thank you.
thank
I'll
you.
join next time if I yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm traveling to India, so yeah.
That's okay. You can watch the offline
Later,
recording
yeah.
anytime.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Thank
maybe.
you. I'll log off then, Suri, okay?
Yeah, we'll reconnect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all the best for your trip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Bye.
Bye.